As we're set to begin our third round match, he'll meet up with Ricky Ward, who you may remember from our telecast last week in Brentwood, California. Kent is ranked 9th by the PBA. This is a guy who knows how to run the ladder. He ran the ladder in the 1996 Greater Detroit Open. And he opens the third round match with a strike on lane 23.
And Mike, he's found himself a little bit of room to pull the ball to the left and to arc the ball a little to the right. So he's got a couple of boards out there to play with. Our first look at Ricky Ward, haven't seen him since, last week. And he's moved in a little bit, Mike. He was playing straighter down the lanes. The lefties told me that the lane 24 did hook a little more. Be interesting to see on lane 23 if he moves out further or if he goes with a little softer speed.
Well, this is his second straight TV finals, and he told me he's not getting off TV until he finally wins one.
Well, I'm sure
see if that happens today.
It very well could happen today, and these are two players who are looking to dominate the tour. Never quite gotten there before. Ricky Ward starts out with a great double. You know he's mentally tough. He showed that last week.
Ricky Ward is ranked 15th by the PBA, and it puts a little pressure on Doug Kent as Ricky Ward opens with 2 strikes. Kent now. Our third round match, second frame.
Doug Kent, considered by his peers one of the most consistent players on tour.
And yet another strike for Doug Kent. I was going to ask you because Walter Ray Williams won his 4th PBA Player of the Year award last year. But I want to know who the new stars on tour in 1998 will be. We saw Parker Bone last week, and you really like this guy, Doug Kent.
I would have picked Doug Kent before the start of the year, and with what Ricky Ward has done so far this year, he's shown me that he really wants to put his name up there as not just a good player, but a player who has the opportunity to be a dominant figure on tour.
Kent in the third.
Almost the solid 8. We saw the solid 8 last game left by Gary Skidmore. This time, the last pin to fall over, and I'm not sure what touches it. It's the 8 pin. Very, very good shot. Take a look. I'm still not sure, but Doug doesn't care. He's just glad the darn thing fell over.
Like the Leaning Tower of Pisa for a while there.
Ricky Ward doing nothing wrong with 3 in a row himself. And, poor Ricky, last week he lost 277 to 266 to Tom Baker. You shoot 266 on national television, Mike. You're supposed to win that game. So far in this tournament, his opposition, nothing but strikes.
Ricky's goal is to win at least one tournament every year, plus a couple of the majors. He was the Rookie of the Year in '91. Ricky Ward has opened with 4 strikes.
Well, our viewers are being treated to some great bowling today. A lot of striking as we see Ricky Ward starts about the 13 board, sends it out to 6, coming back flush. He knows it's a good shot. Will it strike? Yes.
Doug Kent in the 4th frame.
You can see him blowing out a little air to relax himself. Must keep it going, and he does.
It's interesting that you said these guys have adjusted so well to the lanes this week. I don't think people know. When you look at bowling lanes from the naked eye, they all look the same. But I think you were telling me they're a lot like putting greens in that there's a little break here, a little break there, uphill, downhill.
Every lane has its own characteristics. And then with the way the PBA comes in and does the lane maintenance, putting the oil down on the lanes, that changes the way the ball will react. So, for instance, a player like Gary Skidmore, who's more familiar with leisure bowl than, say, a Doug Kent, his advantage is taken away by the PBA lane maintenance people, and their job is to make the lanes as competitive and as fair for everyone as possible, and I think they're doing a darn good job.
We've had a 246 average so far on these 2 lanes today.
And it looks as though the first one to slip up may be in trouble here. It's not going to be Doug Kent, at least not yet. 5 in a row
for Doug Kent.
That's fun.
We've seen nothing but strikes so far in the third round.
This is the way a bowler likes to have the reaction. Watches it, makes a nice move into the pocket, and everything falls in unison.
trying to match Doug Kent in the 5th. Another strike for Ward.
Strike fest continues as Ward.
Ward is a guy who, in order to relax before a tournament, he'll actually take a bath or a shower, and what he does is he closes his eyes and he just thinks of pleasant things, maybe a babbling brook, a gorgeous waterfall, or rolling strikes.
Whatever it takes to get you into the right frame of mind to perform at this level, you go ahead and do it. I wouldn't think harshly of any kind of motivation. And look at that. He knew that was good off his hand, and he's sort of strutting his stuff right now. Ricky Ward got the front 6.
6 in a row for Ward, putting a little pressure on Kent here in the 6th.
So Mike,
by 10 pins.
the PBA is going to be giving out a bonus of $20,000 for a perfect game in the semifinal match. If a bowler was to throw 300 in the last match, our title match, it'd be 25. Right now, both of our competitors with the front 6. As we take a look at Doug Kent playing that more of a down and in line, you'll see it just trace right back into the pocket. Great shot for Doug Kent.
This is another guy who loves the game of golf. And that was like a 60-foot putt right there.
Yes, it was. Doug Kent taking a re-rack as we see a breakdown for Doug Kent on lane 23. He has 8 strikes. Lane 24 having a little more trouble. His carry is better on lane 23. He sure hopes it stays that way as he's up in the 7th frame.
He started bowling at a young age, entered a regional as a teenager, his first regional. He won that regional and has been gearing toward a bowling career ever since. I think it was the right choice.
Well, it's everything is just answer this.
And he's waving the towel.
Well, Ricky Ward was strutting his stuff a minute ago. Take a look at this shot by Doug Kent. High flush in the pocket. That'll kind of make you feel good about yourself as he takes a 10-pin lead over Ricky Ward. Poor Ricky Ward. 277 shot on by Tom Baker last week. What will Doug Kent shoot? And there's the first opening in the game. Ricky Ward leaves the soft 7-pin on lane 24. By no means the out of the match, but he's 11 pins down with a conversion here in the 7th frame. Hasn't been a lot of spare shot lately, Mike, so we'll see how he handles it. But no problem.
So Ward with a spare in the 7th, trailing now by 11 pins as he switches to lane 23 and the 8th frame.
Looks like he's up there whistling. Seems pretty relaxed for a guy that's bowling against somebody who's got 7 in a row. Must start the strikes up again here. And not afford to lay down for Doug Kent. Come on! Messenger goes to the sideboard, does not come back to get the 7-pin. Actually comes in front of the 7-pin. We'll take a look at this. Watch the head pin right here. It's going to go to the sideboard, come back, but it comes in front. Here it comes, right in front of the 7-pin.
And he picks up the spare. So Ward
now 12 pin down.
6 straight strikes. Spares in the 7th. Spares again in the 8th. Doug Kent has 7 in a row. He's up by 12 in the 8th frame. This is our 3rd round match. Kent knocking off Gary Skidmore in our 2nd round. Rich Soper waiting.
That's got a hook. That ball was right at his target, and it was fast. A lot of times, Mike, when you get excited, you have a tendency to throw the ball harder. And not only did he get excited and throw it harder, he also threw it a little bit farther to the right, much more room for the ball to hook up, more room for the ball to have to travel. Didn't quite get there. Now he only has a 10-pin lead, and he's also left himself a very difficult spare to pick up.
The strategy is here to hit the...
Well, you want to hook the ball into the 2-8. He throws it soft. It's got to hurry, and it does not hook. Ricky Ward takes the lead, sitting on the bench, and as Doug Kent missed that, I watched Ricky Ward go, wow. Take a look. It does not come back. It just misses the 2-pin.
Kent just hooked the top fight.
Tough break.
And so after 7 straight strikes for the veteran Doug Kent, leaves an open frame now in the 8th. He's got a 206 in the 8th, trailing by 2 pins.
Well, he put it behind him.
And that is such a key to be able to put an open frame behind him. Doug Kent did that. Pressure continues on Ricky Ward. And we're going to find out now about Ricky Ward's bowling touch in the 9th frame, up by 2.
If he does not,
third round match.
He does not strike here, Doug Kent will have his chance to shut him out. And he does not strike. The best Ricky Ward can do, 257. Right now, Doug Kent with strikes in the 10th, 11th, 12th, 266. But Ricky Ward still up by 1 pin.
Ward with a 9 in the 9th.
Hang on.
The spare.
Ward picked the spare.
Ricky Ward's a cool customer. The more I watch him, the more I really appreciate the way he handles himself out there on the lanes, under the lights during what is considered to be a rather pressure-packed time in a professional bowler's life.
You think?
I think so.
Ward in the 10th. And he knocks them all down. He strikes in the 10th.
Keeps that 1-pin lead, and more importantly, gives himself a chance to extend to 11 pins with a strike here, second ball in the 10th.
Ricky's 29 years old, and he told me he thinks of himself as a young, seasoned veteran.
He's been out for quite a while now, and he has matured. I think it shows by the way he handles himself. There's a lot of stuff happening there and happening in front of him right now. People have left him with cards, and he just concentrates, throws the shot, and strikes a lot.
2 strikes in the 10th now for Ward.
Now, last week, Ricky shot 266. It was not enough against Tom Baker's 277. Will 257 be enough this week against Doug Kent? We'll have to wait and see. He throws this shot. He knows it was good. He's down on a knee. That's right. Still important.
Ricky, he's so fine. You see the card in the back. We'll see how fine. Yeah.
Well, he's done everything he possibly can right now, Mike. He struck out in the 10th frame. Right now, he forces Doug Kent to strike 2 times in the 10th frame in order to win. Anything less, Ricky Ward will bowl Butch Soper for the title here in Albuquerque.
How about that for 2 appearances in the TV finals? A 266 last week, and he lost. A 257 this week, and the pressure is on Doug Kent.
Remember last frame, threw it hard and wide. Come on.
Oh.
And that's an unfortunate break. Doug Kent made a great shot. Got the ball a little bit wide, but he threw it slower and got the good fingers. As we'll see the 6-pin wrap right around the 10. We've seen that darn ring in 10 too many times. Especially on the right-hand lane. Well, he makes his spare. Not going to make a difference. Right now, Ricky Ward, he's your winner. He'll be bowling against Butch Soper for the title.
Ricky Ward, the 29-year-old from North Fort Myers, Florida, will advance.